I'm Dusty. I'm here today with my kid Levi, who's going to be making a lot of noise in the background. So when you hear that, just know that he's growing and enjoying life. As part of becoming a father is sometimes things get interrupted and things don't go as well as you planned. Kids start bumping into lights, all that jazz. That's good. That's a part of life. That's what you want in life. And it would be really, really boring if nothing else changed. Well, as you become a father, it becomes harder and harder to do the things that you like to do. But some things you look forward to doing with your friends and family that you have done your whole life. For me, backpacking. I guess the reason why I bring this up is today I'm going to take you through my kit and what I take backpacking with me. And then we're going to build Braden out a kit and show what you take your friends with. And for when I look at this, it kind of hits home because eventually I want my son to come backpacking with me. And so I am starting to think of what does it take for 2 people to go backpacking instead of just 1. Well, I want to take you to my kit today. I know it was a long intro, but stick with me here. I have the Flash 55 from REI as a backpack. I've gone through a few backpacks, the Kelty Cosmic Down, or the Cosmic 50, or Red Wing 50, the Kelty Red Wing 50. And then I've gone through an Osprey, and now I've stuck with this. Now, the reason why I went to this backpack is because it's much lighter than the Kelty and the Osprey. I'm not an ultralight backpacker. That's not my stick. I am, I would say, a funds backpacker. I like to bring things that I'm going to enjoy having with me. So as you look at my kit, some of it's really light where I can save weight, and then other parts are going to be like, why are you bringing that? It's heavy. So I want to build out this pack and fill it like I would if I were to be going on a trip, which we are going to go on a trip, but it'll be in a little while. This bag is a tube bag, which means that everything in the middle is just open. There's no compartments on the inside. It's just a centralized tube. And then I would say there's side components here that are really nice to have. You know, water bottle locations, and then for me, tent locations. And then there's this front mesh right here, and that's important for me. Dry out my shoes, dry out wet clothing, have quick access to rain fly covers, whatever it might be. And then last but not least, we have this top. Helmet? I can't remember what they call it. A lid? A lid. It's the lid to the bag. And this is where I put quick access items. So I'm taking this lid off for ease of entry. We're just going to go with what I put in this bag, and then we'll fill out the little compartments later. So the first thing, and you know, the absolute first thing I ever put into my backpack, I like to go heaviest on the inside, because inside and closest to your back is where you should put your heaviest items. And then I like to put my sleep system at the very bottom of the bag because it's just easier. It acts as like a spring for everything else inside the bag. Sometimes I will put it in a stuff sack, and sometimes I will put it in just the very bottom of the bag, depending on if it's going to rain or whatnot. I'm going to load this as if we're going to Hocking Hills, which is a fun, short, exciting trip that doesn't take a lot. So let's start with the actual tent itself. This is a Big Agnes. I don't remember the name of it, and I probably couldn't find it, to be honest. But it's about a 2.5 pound, 3.5 pound tent. And then I added a couple ounces of a footprint to it. And you notice all in this plastic hanger because I never want to lose any components of my sleep system. So I always tether them to my bag. This goes inside, these stay outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put this right here. And before I get too much further, I'm going to look at my relaxation system, which is going to be a seat. Either putting the one that I'm currently using, which is off-brand Moon Lintz folding chair. I wouldn't recommend it, so I'm not going to show you. I really like these, though. These are Coleman chairs. There's a lot of metal in here, so you might think it's heavy, but it really just comes to about a pound. You stretch and snap it, and then you got a nice comfy place to sit or to put your feet up for. So I really like this chair a lot. And the big thing, and for me, because I only use a 55-liter pack, is it's compact. It folds up into a small profile, and I can take that small profile and put it in my bag closest to my back. Some people ask if you can feel it next to your bag, and the answer is I never do. So that's the first and foremost. Tent, and then seat. And then next, I have a compression sack. This is by Alps. about, oh gosh, what are you doing, bud? This is by Alps. You should never leave your down sleeping bags compressed when you're storing them long term, because they'll lose their loft. This is a Kelty sleeping bag. It's a 700 fill power bag, and it's got some good loft to it. So I always keep it in the bag that it comes with. And over time, I've started to see some feathers come through this bag, but for the most part, it looks great. Still works as expected, keeps its loft pretty well. But when the time comes, I gotta put it into its stuff sack. I've got this wrestled into its bag. So compression sacks are something that people don't use a lot. I see online that they typically just don't do it. I still love them. Saves you a lot of time and effort. And this bag happens to be waterproofed, which is good and bad. The good is if it's raining outside and your bag gets wet, your sleep system probably won't. And it's bad because in the morning, when you've sweated a lot and the breath has brought dew down on your bag, it stays in here. So now that we've got this, we've got my tent on the left side of the bag, and I've got my sleep system, my sleeping bag, on the right side of the pack. So they're both going to go down and fill this bottom section of the bag really, really well. And that's basically the start of how I load my pack. The rest of the tent components, I've got poles, stakes, and I've got a footprint, which is just the underside of what you would call. All of that is going to go on the outside. I disconnect it first, right? And then I stick it in tent side, because there's a lot more room on this side, underneath my cinches. I don't know if you can see this. I stick it on the side of this pouch, on the outside, because it doesn't matter if it gets wet. Then, tent poles. I'm sure to leave the tail out. And then on top of those, this is kind of a tricky thing for me to put in on camera, hopefully it works. I sneak in the footprint, just like this. Then I take all three of these, okay? All three of these together. And then by these, I mean end components. I put this plastic lightweight clip on it. And then I take all of these and I connect it to my bag directly. Now, I don't have to stress over if, sir, I am speaking. Now, my sleep system is almost done. I've got tent, I've got sleeping bag, but I don't have an insulation layer between me and the floor. So, I have several of these. I'm going to show you just a couple examples of what I have, because I think that it's nice for you to see what options are available to you. So this is a Thermarest Z-Lite. My thoughts on this, it's really light, but it's really bulky. So do I recommend this? No. It's really light, really bulky. It's all right. This is my Static V. This is insulated. It's an ultralight pad, so it's not really wide. I don't particularly like this pad anymore, but if you're looking for a small lightweight version, I would say this is one of the best for the budget that you have. It's like $100, so that's really great. This one is like 30, 35, 40, something like that. And then this is the Nemo. They call it the Cosmo 3D. I don't remember why they call it that. It's the regular, it's not their insulated version, because it is so thick I didn't feel I needed the insulated version. It's still like a couple value R, 2 or 3 value R. Now, I love this pad because I don't have to blow it up with my breath. I can pump it up with the internal pump. It's like a CPR style pump. You just sit here and pump it and it comes up. So this is gonna go in my pack next. And my pack is starting to get filled at this point, but I've got the majority of everything that I need in here. I push my tent down and this goes sideways like this in the top here. So at this point, the major components that I have are done. My sleep system is almost there. I just have 2 pillows because I'm bougie like that. I stick this down just in the far bottom here, filling up any of the extra space. So now I need a couple more things. I need a cook system. like food storages, all that stuff. And then the last thing I need is fire starters and clothing. So I don't take a lot with me when I go camping. It's pretty simple. So I'm gonna grab those things real quick, show you your options that I use. This is my go-to cook system right here. That's it. That's all I take with me. In this top section here, I'll put my spices that I might need for my pre-planned meals. We could do an entire video on planning out your meals, so I'm not gonna go over that now. Just showing you what I take with me. Okay, I'm gonna show you it by backing up a little bit, setting on the ground. I have some other things here to show you, and I'll go through them as the time goes. But the first thing that I always take with me is a connected spork. This one's titanium, and the big thing that I really like about this is the bottle opener on the bottom. Not because I need a bottle opener, but because I use it to lift my lid off my pot when it's scalding hot. So that's super helpful. I like the mesh bag because it allows your pots to dry out after you wash them. Sometimes I take a pot stabilizer with me. This one I think is by MSR. Sometimes I take one with me. Most of the time I don't. Well, I'll tell you when I do take one with me is when I'm going to be doing rock camping. Anything where I'm on like a hard rock section and I don't think it's going to be super stable. Okay, so this is one of many titanium pots that I have. This one's unbranded because I started a backpacking company a long time ago and I was researching what I wanted my pots to be like. This is a, I believe, 500 milliliter pot. Let's see, it's the same size as this. Yeah, it's a 500 milliliter, 650 milliliter pot. These are great because they've got these little metal handles. They're all titanium. They come with a lid, though the lid isn't a snap-in lid. I dislike that about this. And then inside, I just keep a few things. This is a mouth saver. Sometimes the pot's hotter than the liquid. So you snap this on the edge. And when you snap it on the edge, it lets you take a drink without burning your lips. Oh, jeez. Wild boy. The other thing I take is a lighter. Super easy and quick and nice. And then I take this Chinesium stove. I love this. It's like the lightest one you can find on the market. Ounces, literally like an ounce or two. And it puts out good flame. Not the best flame I've seen on the market, but good flame. But it fits inside my pot really well, and I like it a lot. Oh yeah? This may all be entirely unusable, who knows? Now, there's a couple of different kinds of fuel you can get. This like jet boil, jet power, I think it's okay. The fuel is just fine. I got this for $5. It doesn't work really well in cold weather though. And then this Ola Camp is my favorite. It is a 4-season performance mixture. I will, if I'm in really cold weather, like I've done a backpacking trip when it was like 0 degrees outside. You take this, shove it up underneath your coat, let it warm up, screw it on, and then it'll work. All this goes inside my pot here. Lid on top, this on top of that, and then it all goes into this little bag. Usually, I put this outside of my bag on the opposite side. Sometimes it's really tough to get this to fit, and you kind of gotta shimmy stuff around. The reason why my cook kit's on the outside is because I wash it and then we hike. And so by washing it and then immediately hiking, it's usually wet. And that shows you the reason for this little clip that I have on it is to connect it to my pack so I don't lose my cook system. Because as my dad always said, if you're tied to it, you're emotionally tied to it, it should be tied to you. So that is my cook system. Some other alternatives I have is this Toaks titanium container. These are nice. I sometimes will take a GSI plastic mug. And sometimes I'll take, Bray, can you tell me that orange mug? Sometimes I'll take this, which is I believe it's Sea to Summit makes it. It's a little collapsible mug. And I'm making these decisions on which ones I'm taking on a few factors, right? How heavy is it? How compact is it? How far am I hiking? What's the temperature? That kind of stuff. I might even take a bowl. This is a Sea to Summit bowl. And this bowl is really, really good for eating soups and that kind of stuff because it's insulated on the sides. It doesn't burn you. I like that a lot. All right, as far as cook system, that's about as much as I can say for that. Now, I could go just like this, but I like to make a fire. And because I like to make a fire, I like to take fire steels and knives with me. So kind of from this point on, once you have your sleep system, your pack, your cook set kit, and then your clothing, which I keep my food and clothing in little bags like this. So this would be filled with food. This is all I usually bring on a weekend trip. Fold that up, that goes inside my pack. It would take a lot more room than what you're gonna see. After that, it's all accessories. Now, I can talk about accessories for a long time. For the most part, I will just take this, a singular knife, and then some fire starting extras. This knife has a fire steel attached to it. It's kind of heavy. I just recently got Braden a knife. Braden, can you hand me that knife? Don't throw it, because it definitely doesn't sheath as well as this does. I got a little Mora knife. We're gonna test this one out. I've never used a Mora knife, but I've heard that they're extremely good. And I'm excited to see how this goes. This weighs like a third of this weight here. And so we'll modify that a little bit to show it off and see how it does for Braden. And then I take this Uberlin, I think it's German. It's like a candle, wick candle. That's cool. I really like that a lot. And then I usually take a little kit with a candle in it and some wood in case it's really wet outside. Then lastly, I will take this pocket bellows. All right, those are accessories. The only other thing that I really need to talk to you about that's really important is lighting. I also have a med kit. I always take a med kit. I have a car kit and a med kit. This Bushnell, it's H35L, is my favorite. It clips to your hat just like this. Easy to carry with you. It's really lightweight. You can adjust its angle, which I think is super nice. It takes AAA batteries, so I can bring 3 or 4 AAA batteries and not really stress over it. I take this light. That's my primary light that I use for everything. Unless I'm going on a longer trip, in which case I will also take a Black Diamond Storm, which I don't have with me today because I literally use it all the time everywhere. Currently it's in my electrician bag. And then lastly is cordage. I always take a little bit of cordage. Not a lot, don't need a lot, just some. And this is always in my tent stake bag. So I'm really excited to take you on my backpacking trip. Braden is gonna have a good time building out his kit. I have a ton of stuff he's gonna use, but we also bought him some interesting things to try out. Hopefully it rains and he gets flooded out. It'll be a blast. Thank you for watching. I know this is a little bit of a long video, but I appreciate you being here and watching all of my things.